got Twinkies, we'll play on some grass and dirt. But turn down the volume on Dick and Bird. Fuck Dick and Bird! Fuck Dick and Bird! St. Paul admitting the law and life, and hitting rock bottom, drugs in the ex-wife. Fuck Dick and Bird! Fuck Dick and Bird! Fuck Dick and Bird! Fuck Dick and Bird! Fuck shit.
Hello and welcome to this thing we call Minnesota Foul Play-by-Play. I'm your host, Anthony Variano, and I'm joined by our attorney on retainer, Michael J. Haas, Esquire. Michael, how we doing, bud?
Got a cigarette lit, tobacco. Ooh. Oh, this country is built on tobacco, and
it really was.
The traditions,
It really was. I just got done smoking a bit of a wood tip black and mild, so yeah, my throat's feeling a little scratchy as well. But that's what the alcohol is for, right? Let's see. We had absolutely the most watched baseball game ever played last night, and I watched it. You watched it. We all watched it. And apparently 97.4% of households in Japan watched it, at least the final out. Mind-boggling entertainment. It was a joy to watch. It was incredible in all the ways that WBC, in all the ways that MLB is not incredible. The WBC managed to be. This is without the pitch clock being used. The game was longer, and it didn't seem to bother anybody. Quickly, what were your thoughts on the game last night and the WBC as a whole?
No, I really like that you made a note of the length of the game, because I did realize after the last pitch, I looked at my phone. I'm like, shit, this was almost 4 hours.
Right.
And it did feel like it. And at parts it did feel like it, but I love this is how baseball's meant to be played, though. Like, it was, from start to finish, it was a great fucking game. Yeah. Like,
competitive,
the pitching duel that it turned into, and then that's why, shit, it felt scripted too. Like, for everything to work out, that fucking double play, that fucking was a USA killer. But then you're like, you know what? The
Trout
two best in the world can see who's better. And in that moment, Shohei Ohtani proved to be the better in that moment. I'm not gonna dethrone Trout yet.
Oh, come on. I think it's...
But goddamn it, Shohei is my fucking God.
I really, really want him to be a Twin. I will give him all he wants.
Over the Twins market's too small for this man. This man needs to be like a Dodger or a Yankee, just for the sake of baseball.
Yeah. And
for him, because he's bigger than the game right now. I mean, he is the game of baseball on a worldwide level. And I haven't seen any of the numbers come in yet of how many millions of people watch this game.
Oh God, it's by far going to be the most watched game of all time.
But if baseball has been dying in America, I'll tell you one thing: in East Asia, baseball is the only sport. I mean, God,
it's been alive and well in Korea and Japan for a very long time, and they've known how to do it for a really long time, as has Latin America. Like, we just don't know how to do it. The trumpets. I noticed during that game was the only time I've ever really heard something throughout the game, right? Like, usually it's mostly quiet in any building, regardless of how many people are there, for at least some parts of the game. Where, as in Miami, you've got goddamn people on trumpets playing songs, and it was fantastic atmosphere. And that's what I think that Major League Baseball is missing, which is exactly okay. So here's exactly how good both Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani were. Going back to your point. This is per Elite Dingers, as was the stat about the 97.4% of households watching the game or watching the final out. Mike Trout had 3 swinging strikes in 24 of his 6,174 MLB plate appearances up until that point. That's insane.
It's ungodly.
He hardly ever swings and misses at 3 strikes in 1 plate appearance, except when he's against his own teammate.
Oh, fuck. And talk about missing pitches. That Shohei's last slider he threw,
Amazing.
I mean, Jesus
even John
Christ.
Smoltz was speechless at that thing. I
No.
gotta be honest though. I still fell asleep during the second intermission of the Wild game. I had it on as on my second screen, and I didn't have the volume up loud enough. And there was a lull there. There was like no scoring going on, and yeah, I took a little 40-minute nap. What can I say?
No.
But baseball got the big TV and the big audio in my house for the first time since probably 2019 or before.
No, the thing that has disappointed me this week and last week is some of the commentary, which a lot of the commentary has been great, which if you're an avid baseball lover, which I watch the Twins religiously, but if it's a Sunday afternoon and I got nothing going on, I have no problem like watching a Dodgers game. I usually watch their first game of the year anyway.
Yeah, I don't have any problem watching the Chicago White Sox broadcast because I think those broadcasters do it better than anybody.
But how can you? There's been some naysayers though that have just been like, well, this means nothing. Why would you waste these players' time? The injuries that have came out through the World Baseball Classic, but it's just, and I'm sorry, the world is telling us something. Like we can pretend it doesn't matter, but this is like Olympic level where it does matter to people, and as baseball fans, we should fully support it. Like, what is wrong with having more baseball? Getting more people to love this great freaking sport.
And it's once every 3 years. It's not really like guys are going to get injured in spring training too. You know, just the fact of playing baseball is a risk. So I don't see a problem with an exhibition tournament happening exactly when it happens now. People want to put it in the middle of the season or whatever. And it's just like, no, you do it right now to ramp up intrigue in the upcoming season. And, you know, you let guys work out their stuff in the tournament or before, like Japan had a week before they started working, before the Team USA had a chance to, or at least MLB teams met in spring training. But
sorry,
go ahead.
No, the only defense I have, I would not mind if we could have the world, because it's fucking condensed so much.
Yeah.
We just had a whole tournament that takes 2 weeks.
Not even. Yeah. 10 days.
It's fucking insane. Like, if we could, over the All-Star break, if this could be like once every 3 years where this is when it happens, I could be on board for that, just because I can understand. Like, I read an article today, a Padres fan is pissed off because what's that great Japanese pitcher who pitched in the seventh or eighth inning, Yu Darvish.
Yeah.
He's not going to be ready at the beginning because not all teams like the U.S. were. I mean, our manager was a little constrained with how we could use pitchers because ball clubs want their pitchers to be ready for opening day, and Darvish isn't going to be ready for opening day because he hasn't built up his pitch count.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he might miss some time at the beginning of the year. So I can understand that aspect of it, because I can understand ball clubs being pissed off, but
they could do as the Yankees do and say, no, you once you sign this contract, you cannot play in the World Baseball Classic.
Which
problem solved.
To me, that is, I fucking hate it when ball clubs do that shit though, because I'm sorry, the labor management fucking problems we had, was that only last year where we got lucky that baseball started on time, but it ruined spring ball?
I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah.
But it's like, now we're building back again. It's just like baseball is always trying to build back its viewership and everything. And then we have this home run that draws everybody in and boosts everybody's fucking interest in this great sport.
Grand Slam, or is that the one?
So it's like there has to be some compromise if we actually do want to build this as a sport to be as big as it once was. Is my 2 cents.
Well, I never really was in love with the WBC until just this moment. Like, yesterday made me fall in love with the WBC and now I'm a fan forever. Like, I think we should do it every 2 years.
No, and I could have swore you would have been there in the bowling alley in Bozeman with me, because that's when I first discovered the World Baseball Classic, was fucking years ago. And I'm at one of our old watering holes in Bozeman, and it's on TV, and Team Cuba was playing, and everybody in the bar is going against Cuba, and I'm just like, fuck you guys. This is awesome, because I'm a history fucking nerd and buff, and especially on Cuba, and I'm just like, this is fucking awesome. This is Cuba versus fucking the capitalists. This is my fucking dream. And no, that's when I really fell in love with it. And that Cuba US game was tough to watch, not only because of the performance, but Jesus Christ, I get sick of watching all this fucking propaganda. Yep, there's no freedom in Cuba, and the US has the most incarcerated people in the world. We're the ones who are going to define what freedom is.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we get too political, let's talk about the Twins roster. Do-Young Park thinks the non-roster spring training invitee Willie Castro could make the opening day roster. He was non-tendered by the Tigers despite playing 6 different positions for that team. He's got a 1049 OPS this spring, going 9 for 29. And it sounds like he could fill in for Jorge Polanco at second base, Ojos Abiertos. He's still dealing with soreness and is behind schedule in his spring training regimen. So is he a guy that you foresee making the club out of spring training, or is there somebody else that fills that role better?
It wouldn't surprise me. I think it would be between him and Solano.
Yeah.
But Solano, if you've been watching spring ball at all, following it, it seems like they're kind of using. He has been playing some second base, but there's a lot of beat writers out there who think that his primary role would be a backup first baseman, because we still have question marks regarding Kirilloff, and to kind of fill that hole that has been left by Luis Ariz, at first base. But I could agree with you that Willie Castro could make the opening day roster. It wouldn't surprise me. Somebody's going to need to be called up. Another one is the Canadian boy who we love, Julien, that would be a good fit. I think first base will be where he ends up in the long run anyway.
Yeah, they had questions, Twins Daily. I don't remember who wrote it, but there were questions about his defense at second base, which is pretty much the case across the board for minor leaguers in the Twin system. They just cannot defend the middle infield very well.
No, and that's actually, if you're honest about the Twins farm system, we do focus a lot more on bat skills than fielding skills.
Yeah.
I mean, once we find hitters who can hone in and be great hitters, that's really our primary fucking goal, it seems
like Luis Arias hit so well, you could find a place for him to play on a regular basis. That's the whole point.
And to rewind it a little bit back to the WBC, though, like last night's game, the game before, what has been awesome and why I loved watching Team Japan play was, talk about playing baseball the right way, like defensively sound, just fundamentals through and through. And that's
making all the right moves. The manager was amazing.
Just some of the best fundamental baseball I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, and I'll be looking forward to that too, because the Twins are supposed to be a lot better at running the bases this year and going to be a lot more aggressive about it. Speaking about running the bases, nobody does it faster than Byron Buxton, who is expected to start as the Twins' designated hitter. Interesting. Do we like this?
Who said that?
I saw it. I think I wanted to say as an MLB.com report, but I can find it for you.
His first actual game up with the club was last night, and he did just DH. So I think they're working him back into the field slowly. From all the interviews I've seen with Buxton this spring,
this is an MLB trade rumors report. It says Twins planning to use Byron Buxton primarily as designated hitter early in the season. And it comes straight from the mouth of Rocco Baldelli to Do-Young Park.
I wonder how Buxton's going to like that, though. Like, I mean, I've watched so many specials on him. Like, he still wants to be out in the field. And I mean, as a fan, I want to see the best defensive center fielder in the game.
Of all time. Yeah, I wouldn't mind it too. But I'd like to see him play at the end of the season more so in the beginning of the season. And I think this is a great way to keep his bat in lineup. Again, another guy who, has the bat skills to play every day and doesn't necessarily need to be playing in the field because we got another Gold Glover to play center field for him. So
I totally agree. I just so what do? Do we not ever have him steal bases? And at second base, do we just tell him never slide, just come up standing at second base?
If you can't get into second base on your feet, then don't bother going. No, he doesn't steal bases that well anyways, and I don't foresee him attempting a lot of steals regardless. I'm more concerned I'm not concerned at all. Actually, I really like this move because I, again, want him to play in September and October. And so if this is going to make him do that, then I'm all for it, especially with Michael A. Taylor to play center field in his absence. And with the how well we've shored up our corner outfield too defensively. So, I mean, we're in a position where we can actually make this work, and it'll be good for him, good for us, good for everybody.
No, I would agree with you. I want to see as much Byron as we can see this year. And I didn't mention it when you were talking about Jorge, but that to me is concerning. I do understand prospects coming up in the future without Jorge, but as Twins fans, we cannot deny how he is still a centerpiece of this organization, or as well as he has done.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's one of the best.
He's an all-star with a contract that is not, indicative of an all-star player. It's just so team friendly. It's almost too good to be true.
No, and I saw a video of him just a couple days ago, still limping with a compression brace on his knee. So I'm just like, motherfucker! Like,
he said he was fine when I saw him at Twins Fest. What was that about, Jorge? Come on, man. Apparently, he hadn't done a lot of on-field activities. Anywho, so he might start the year on a rehab assignment with the St. Paul Saints, who unveiled new food offerings this year. Oh boy, included on the menu, a foot-long hot dog with brisket and bacon. That sounds amazing.
Oh my God.
Melts in your mouth good. Remember, what was the boomstick? Nelson Cruz's hot dog that we shared. There's a great photo of us sharing that on the Facebook. Yeah, it was worth every penny too. We tried to get, what was it? Was it Michael Brantley we tried to get to help us eat that thing? He smiled at us like, no goddamn way. That's too big for me. Also on the menu, a Southern style chicken and biscuits with gravy. That looked fantastic as well.
That looks amazing.
One of the best things I think I saw was the mac and meat, or the mac and cheese with brisket. I mean, you can't go wrong with mac and cheese. So, boy, it sounds like I'm going to be spending a lot of time at CHS Park this year. CHS Field. Hey, my favorite cousin Joel is now in the Zoom. We are looking for one more player to join our fantasy baseball league. We need one more to get 8. You can purchase an annual subscription to our Substack for $50 to join. And that's at gogonzojournal.substack.com. We're looking to do the draft this weekend. There's going to be prizes available, made available by friends of the show, myself. I'm putting up a courtside seat to a Lynx game. Or you can take the entire pot. Minus $50. The runner-up will get their money back. So that's the plan. We're going to do ESPN head-to-head scoring. Only change in the scoring is that pitcher wins are no longer getting 10 points. Quality starts will get 10 points. So on that note, let's move on to the women. The Minnesota Whitecaps have shocked the hockey world after losing 8 straight to end the season, thanks to Anthony's curse. That's me. Went to a game. They didn't win until the end of the season. And they just had one overtime loss over that time. Well, the Whitecaps managed to win 2 straight games in Boston over the Premier Hockey Federation's top seed. The games weren't even close. 5-2 in game 1, 4-1 in game 2. The Whitecaps looked like the better team throughout. Defensive pressure forced turnovers. The Caps turned into goals. And Amanda Levier, that goalie we talked about in a previous episode, returned to have 47 saves in game 2. No big deal. They are absolutely a different team with her on the ice. And I think they got a shot to win the whole damn thing. Did you get a chance to see these games?
I did not know, but those are Those are fucking Shohei Ohtani numbers right there. 47
Right.
saves.
Yeah, I mean, against the top team in the top offensive team in the sport, in the league, the Premier Hockey Federation, they managed to win two in a row on the road by more than one goal in each game. It's just, I don't know what got into them. They brought their A game at the right time, but Amanda Levier really was the difference maker. So it's pretty awesome, and you can see you can see how aggressive they are with her in goal. Like their whole forechecking presence changed because she was on the ice. They were in the offensive zone, pressuring the puck all the time, turning it over, and just getting breakaway opportunities on, one-on-one on the goalie. And I mean, I'm sorry, you put the puck on Jana Alber's stick one-on-one with a goalie, she's gonna score. And she did a bunch. It was so fantastic to watch.
No, and that's to people that don't follow the Whitecaps, how impressive it is to fucking beat Boston it's like men's hockey. Like, I mean,
Boston's doing pretty good hockey-wise this year. Jesus. Yeah. So Minnesota will take on the Toronto Six, the 2 seed in the Isabel Cup Championship on Sunday at 7 p.m. Central Time. The Whitecaps were 0-4 against Toronto in the regular season, but they were 0-4 against Boston in the regular season too. So I guess we can just throw those records out. You can watch it on ESPN Plus. Or you can join me at 9 Mile Brewing in Bloomington, Minnesota for a watch party. And if you wear Whitecaps gear, you get $1 off pints. Shout out to our Irish listeners out there. Thanks for joining us last week. Our most successful episode, by the way.
The Irish one?
Yeah. St. Paddy's Day episode did really well. So thanks to our Irish fans out there. Absolutely. Let's see. Let's take the time now to welcome my favorite cousin and NBA 2K expert, Joel Variano, to the show. How you doing, Joel?
What's up? I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Pretty good. We got great news. Sounds like Karl-Anthony Towns is going to play tonight.
Yeah.
What can we expect out of Karl? And is this going to be something that lifts the Wolves into the playoffs and avoid the play-in game?
Hopefully. I mean, just if we could cut down on fouls and all that nonsense that we do, I mean, we could have been as high as the 3rd or 4th seed.
Right. It's
but
really still
lead the league in fouls. We lead the league in technicals. We lead the league in, it's just we're not a well-coached team, or it's the Pat Beverly effect, I think.
It's a hangover from Pat Beverly.
We're all bark, no bite, and it's just, yeah. But no, Cat, I mean, we need the scoring, and
yeah, we really do.
What he does best is score. So so if he can find a groove these last 9 games, hopefully, I mean, we got quite a few against people that are right there. We have, I think, a couple
Golden State this weekend.
Well, I think our 2 hardest will probably be Phoenix. I think we have Phoenix twice, but
yeah, we ain't winning those.
Yeah, we need to win the Laker one.
Sure,
we have the Lakers once. We need to win that one for sure. But I mean, yeah, if he could provide scoring, I wouldn't mind seeing them bring him off the bench, because I don't really want him to screw with the starting lineup chemistry.
Yeah.
Did Ant say was Ant supposed to be back today?
Ant is not going to be back today.
Okay, because they
unlikely.
were both shooting for the same day, but I didn't hear anything on it.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I would bring him off the bench and let him play with Jordan off the bench. Let Jordan set him up, or just give him the damn ball and let him score.
Yeah.
Let Rudy be as aggressive as he wants on defense. If he gets in foul trouble, hey, we got Cat right there.
There you go. Yeah.
That's what I would do.
And when Anthony gets back, what next? How is this going to affect the lineups that we put on the floor on a regular basis? Because I mean, we're going to have Karl.
I think you just keep it the way it's going. Kyle, McDaniels, Edwards, Conley, and Gobert, and you have a super 6-man and in a 3-level scorer off your bench and Cat. I mean,
you really
let
think
him build
that
up his value, bring him in slowly.
You think he'd be willing to do that, though?
I think that's, if they want to make some noise, I think that's the best way to do it.
Well, that would make some noise, as Karl-Anthony Towns is the 6-man.
Yeah.
Because you ain't paying him like a 6-man.
Yeah, well, yeah. I just watched the thing about the worst contract draft by Bill Simmons.
Uh-huh.
And both of our Rudy Gobert was one of the first picks, and right after him was Cat. So
Jesus.
Yeah, they both make a lot of money.
We got the Timberwolves got worse cap trouble than the Vikings do. How about that?
Yeah.
Yikes. Mike, what were you about to say?
Yeah, I was going to ask Joe, do you think that's just a transitional phase for a couple of games, or do you think that's something you'd want to see him take into the playoffs as well?
Well, he was passing really good when 5 assists a game. I mean, if they could find that, because I think they should try to go big because that's what they were going for, but I would ease him in. He has that strange calf injury that KD had before he went out in the finals, where he tore his ACL or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but it's the lingering calf issue. Why don't you bring him in a little slow? Our bench, they have no scoring off our bench, so
Yeah.
I think it just makes sense. Why screw up that starting lineup chemistry and just bring Cat in to put up points?
You've been kind of
Usually there's no one there to stop the bleeding when
right.
you go to our bench, and
Yeah.
he would put that Band-Aid on at least.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there. I like where you're going with this.
Yeah. And then if
this is exactly why we have Joel on, people, because we don't know shit about men's basketball around here.
No.
I'm still going off the World Baseball Classic, pretending there's another game tonight. Like I followed basketball for 2.5 weeks. Like
I figured you guys were talking about Twins. Did we get Torrey Hunter or what?
We got him back.
Yeah.
I bet that son of a bitch could still fucking put up some Gold Gloves in the outfield, man.
I don't know about Gold Gloves.
That's when I stopped watching them.
Silver Sluggers, maybe. There was some bad news on the Timberwolves broadcast. Well, actually, Marty was working the Wild auction yesterday, I believe, but she got word that she tested positive for breast cancer. Although it happened so early because she has an annual mammogram, and I think it's important that we as lovers of breasts, encourage women to get an annual mammogram. Because you can catch that cancer before it becomes invasive and gets to other places where it's more difficult to remove. So our heart is with Marty Gellner, our favorite broadcaster. Mike and I both have baseball signed by Marty Gellner. It was one of the greatest.
I was just gonna say, I wish I would have read the outline before. I wish work wasn't such a slam today, because I would have found the damn ball just to have it holding in my hand.
I gotta get mine from my dad. I'm gonna have him send it. Hey, Dad, you gotta find that Marty Gellner ball. That what?
That was such a freaking fun game at the end of the game, tossing down our game balls to her to sign.
Her face.
I guarantee nobody has done that before.
No, well, you could see it on her face. She's like, "Who'd you get this from?" And I tell her Joe Mauer, and she's like, "You sure you want me to sign this?" And it's just like, "Yeah, Marty, you're the best."
Yeah. I got mine from Gardy, which I love Gardy, but I'm just like,
I still miss
Marty.
Gardy.
You're one of the twins, Marty. I'm sorry, you are. Like
you're the most interesting person of the two available to us, and Brian Dozier was the other one. All right, so our best wishes to Marty Gellner. We've already covered Karl-Anthony Towns. Let's talk a little bit more about women. The women's March Madness has been absolute madness. 2 1 seeds fall on their home court. This never happens apparently, but it's madness, Indiana lost to Miami, and Miami's going to their first Sweet 16 ever. Stanford lost to Ole Miss. This is all happening on their home courts. Duke also lost to Colorado on their home court. And I wanted to ask if you guys like this about the women's basketball game, because I love it. I think, first of all, if you move these teams to a court that's not either of the teams, what do they call that? Neutral court. Yes. Thank you, Joel. Jesus. You move these teams to a neutral court, they're probably not selling out the place. You're not getting the same environment. And that's what made the WBC so great, is that environment was freaking fantastic. 10-minute warning. So I'm wondering, do they change this going forward because so many 1 seeds? Well, actually, if you're a 1 seed and you're playing at home, you should fucking win the game. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I agree with that.
Okay. So
you should get the job done.
Yeah. So are you for these games being played? The first 2 rounds, apparently, you could end up playing at home as a higher seed.
Well, yeah, that's why you play the game. I mean, you get that home court advantage. You might as well keep it the same then.
Right. Well, but it doesn't happen in the men's tournament. Almost nobody plays on their home court in the first round of the men's tournament. And that's, I think, why we have so many damn upsets. I almost think that we should have the top seeds in the men's tournament host as well.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts on that?
No, I think I would agree with Joel. I think that should be one of the benefits for a lengthy season, that you get at least like any other damn sport. Like that's one of the rewards for putting in the time in the regular season to be the number one seed is you've got that home field or home court or home ice advantage to start things off. So I would be perfectly fine with it.
What about the fact that generally like the 1s and the 16s don't see each other? They don't even play similar strength of schedule. It's hard. It's basically hard to rank these teams and who's good in the sport.
Yeah, that's
so few of them play
ranking.
Each other.
Yeah.
I still think I'd like to see, Duke play on its home court in the first round, just for the environment.
Oh yeah.
I guess I'll leave it like if I was talking to a police officer. No comment. I don't have a comment.
Anywho, y'all should watch the women's tourney because it's been fantastic fun. And I've really enjoyed watching it. Anything else from anybody else? We were expecting Bradley to join us later, but we got about 8 minutes left and we have made it through our agenda.
We talked about the trade deadline, remember?
Yeah.
Last time I was on.
Yes,
that
we did.
Kevin Durant trade. I mean, here he's out again. Remember how I said it's good for the Nets? Who knows if this guy's gonna, play? He never played hardly for the Nets.
Oh, I think he's probably just being held back by the team in order to play in the playoffs, and he's probably fine.
Maybe, yeah, but
and he's a guy that can come off the bench and give you 40 whenever he wants to because nobody can block his shot, right?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
but another thing for the Timberwolves, I heard Jaylen Brown is not committed to Boston. I would love him on our team.
Oh, well, how do we go ahead and do that? Because I wouldn't mind that guy on our team.
Karl-Anthony Towns for Jaylen Brown.
Straight up. Yeah, babe.
Yeah. And if he re-signs with us, yeah. But.
Sure. He's a hell of a defender, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's
McDaniels reminds me of him.
They're saying McDaniels is going to be first team all defense. I wouldn't say
a poor man Jalen McDaniels, but a medium class Jalen McDaniels or Jaylen Brown.
Oh, middle class, yeah.
Middle class, yeah.
Middle class.
I'm waiting for him to take the leap. Before Jalen got his contract, everybody was like, he's kind of like Jimmy Butler. He hasn't exploded offensively. Well, here his contract year explodes offensively. I'm thinking that's going to happen with Jalen McDaniels. Or Jaden McDaniel, sorry.
Jaden is I mean, they're calling him a first team all defender.
Oh yeah.
You see that from him?
Probably Drew Holiday is probably one of the ones I would consider taking over him as a defensive. Like, go shut this guy down.
Right.
But our guy's right there with him.
Huh. Be damned.
Mm-hmm.
So
he hit a nice. I watched the Bulls game when they freaking lost in double overtime. I was pissed. I'm in a hotel with my family. And they're all sleeping, and I'm, you sons of bitches.
It's so hard to contain yourself. I don't know how
and it's because our former Timberwolf, Zach LaVine, lit us up the whole freaking overtime.
Yeah.
But it's just Jalen McDaniels hit a nice 3-point shot, and it's just Mike Conley needs to take over in that time. It's like if Anthony Edwards is out, if Cat's out, that responsibility falls on you. Kyle had a horrible turnover. I don't know why he had the ball in his hands. Prince had a horrible turnover. I don't know why he has the ball in his hands. It's either Mike Conley, you got to set the guy up or take the shot yourself.
Yeah.
Man it up.
And we've seen that a bit in the fourth quarter with Mike Conley kind of being a little too passive. Mm-hmm. I'd like to see him.
He needs to make a play for somebody or, do something with the ball to set himself up. But
I mean, that's in Anthony Edwards' absence, which that's not going to be the case going forward.
Yeah, like I said, if Cat and Anthony Edwards are not there, I think it falls on Mike Conley.
All right.
I mean, he hit the pass that set up McDaniel's 3 that put him in it, but 5-minute warning.
Thank you, Joel. Well, with nothing else on the agenda, it's Wednesday, and you know what that means. AEW Dynamite, baby. My boy, Orange Cassidy, this guy right here, is going to wrestle with Darby Allin and the undefeated Sting. against the Butcher, the Blade, and Kip Sabian with the Bunny and Penelope Ford ringside. That's going to be
a kid in the class has a question.
okay.
Are we talking about the Sting, like from when I was a kid?
The Sting just turned 64 years old. He's 12-0 in AEW.
So he's like the Sly Stallone of fucking professional wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Okay, go ahead.
The FTW champion of the world, Hook, will finally get his hands on Stokely Hathaway in a no DQ match. That should be over in a matter of seconds. Tony Storm will take on Sky Blue in an ongoing saga between the AEW OG ladies and the free agents. That's going to be fun. It always is, because, you know, the free agents come out with green cans of spray paint and spray paint L for loser on the person who loses. So, and the Guns will defend the AEW Tag Team Championships against Minneapolis' own Top Flight, baby. That's probably going to open the show, which is starting right now. Get over to TBS and check it out. I'm your host, Anthony Variano. I'd like to thank my favorite cousin and ESPN, well, NBA 2K expert, not ESPN Insider, although he might as well be, Joel Variano, for joining us on the show. I'd like to thank Michael Haas, our attorney on retainer, for joining me and talking baseball. And I'd like to remind you that you can find us at Minnesota Foul Play-by-Play on YouTube, at Minnesota Foul Play-by-Play on TikTok.
I want to give Mike Trout a personal thank you for playing for Team USA. Love the man.
That was pretty cool of him. Yeah, he didn't have to do that, but he wanted to. And that, who wouldn't want to? Especially when your teammates playing for Team Japan, who seems to rule the baseball world. I want to move to Japan. I'm going to move to Japan. I'm going to teach English as a second language, and I'm just going to live there for a couple years and watch wrestling and baseball and live life.
Championship game next WBC should be in the Tokyo Dome in Tokyo.
Agreed.
Japan's earned the right to have the championship game in Japan.
Do it up. Just like they do it up for wrestling at the Tokyo Dome. But God, those are some great matches. If you haven't seen a fucking match on YouTube in the Tokyo Dome, I suggest you go find anything involving Kenny Omega and the Tokyo Dome. Just search Kenny Omega Tokyo Dome, and you're going to be pleased that you did. You really will. All right. This has been Minnesota Foul Play-by-Play. Thank you for joining us. And thanks to the Irish for continuing to drink with us. Cheers, mates.